Okay, let's start out. We're going to go into a public comment. We're going into our multiple comment section. Mr. Previn on items 4, 5, 6, and then you have your general public comment. I thought I saw Mr. Previn earlier. Please come forward, sir.
Good morning, sir. It's
morning.
Eric Previn from CD2. Today, item 4 caught my attention because I think we have Geller from City Attorney's Office having a look-see at the election code for fire commissioners, which they're making a few improvements, and obviously he's done an excellent job of taking a careful look at it. This is for the Fire and Police Commission, actually the Board of Fire and Police Pension Commissioners, to be very specific. And then what I was wondering is on item 5 and 6, which have to do with neighborhood council elections. Each of them have a different piece. That's a motion from Krikorian and User to address some of the irregularities that occurred during the election, the last one, I think in April. And I guess my concern is where the city attorney, this is Mr. Fauble today, Dion has moved on, but Mike Fuhr I'm talking about, the real big city attorney who sits over all these departments, including the Neighborhood Council Group, which is the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. And during the election, I was one of the many participants. There was great frustration, and we reached out to the city attorney, the kind of overseer of the law and the way we do it officially in government. And there was a silence, unfortunately, sir. There was a real silence and a lack of response to people on both sides of very contentious issues in neighborhood councils, and yet nobody from city attorney was home to help. It was very, very frustrating for all of us. And I think what this has now resulted in is an idea to ban electronic voting, which makes no sense, sir, because individual neighborhood councils should be able to, first of all, it's like a states' right issue, should be able to choose for themselves, obviously, because some, I think I read in the supporting documentation, have already said that they had the best turnout ever and this, that, and the other thing. I'm sure those were the ones who won. But nonetheless, I think it's true that individual communities should decide for themselves. And Grace Liu, who I think she's the director of the whole Neighborhood Empowerment Group, should really focus her attention on the here and now of improving these things, as opposed to, sort of touting neighborhood empowerment around the world. I know she was just over in Spain, and I think it's important to help Mayor Garcetti with the sense that the neighborhood empowerment is working well, but I think we should actually focus on fixing it so it is working well, as opposed to boasting internationally about how great it's going. So that said, in terms of there was one other item there which had to do with electioneering. Obviously, electioneering is not proper, but we should have a system where the rules are very simple and clear for elections for all of the neighborhood councils, so that they can respect the perimeters and understand what's happening and make sure that nobody is doing anything untoward in an election setting. Because, sir, as a guy who's been elected more than almost anyone in this room, you know that it has to be fair and equitable in America. And Bernie showed that that sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't happen, even though he was trying very hard and looking for a fair share. Is it now time for the general public comment?
Yes, can we give him his general public comment?
Okay, thank you, sir. For the general public comment, I just would like to remind you that there is a rule in your city rules, and Mr. Fauble will double-check this in a moment, called Rule 93. And Rule 93 requires that everybody at a meeting appear the same size in a government telecast of that, because it is the taxpayers who pay, and they're the ones who can't necessarily make it to every meeting, and they're the ones who have a right to hear from their fellow constituents and to discuss in the vibrant debate that is city government the various matters. So to reduce, as you do at major city hall, today you can sort of see me, and I'm oddly wearing a hat today, but that's not usual. But you can't really participate in these meetings if you're invisible. They say every recognized speaker must be shown the same. Well, you need to recognize a recognized speaker to know who's speaking. So I would ask you, sir, because you are widely credited with the authority, maybe Mr. Garcetti put that rule into place for some old